Hello.
Welcome, Jake, to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. What a pleasure to be here.
We actually don't know your full story. And that's what we wanted to do on this show, is ask you questions about really how you went from film school all the way to where you are today, which is an Emmy-nominated internet personality.
Emmy Award winning.
Emmy Award winning.
Thank you, Colin.
Yeah, you're welcome, Jake. You're welcome.
Welcome to episode 1 of Self-Taught. This is a brand new show that we're making in partnership with Samsung.
Now, the reason we're making Self-Taught is because there's no playbook for the modern creator. We've learned just from doing, from making mistakes, and most importantly, from talking with other creators who are successful.
When I walked away from this first interview that you're about to watch, I really felt like these lessons could be applied no matter what you're doing, so long as you're trying to bring any idea to life. It's just good advice. Jake's channel, Vsauce3, is a science and philosophy channel that has almost crossed 4 million subscribers, and he answers questions that you really didn't know you wanted the answer to.
I'm Jake, and if you could go back in time and stop yourself from being born, would you? Or should I say, can you?
Vsauce is a collective of YouTube channels started by Jake and his partners Kevin and Michael back in 2010. And in this episode, we're going to talk to Jake and learn how he's managed to have a long-lasting career as a creator.
Ready? And action!
At what age, at what point did you start to see yourself as creative?
I mean, I've always loved movies. When I was a little kid, my dad and my brother and my mom and I would recreate some of our favorite films. And when it came to school, I wasn't very great at writing essays, but I could express my understanding of a topic through video. So I started just submitting my homework as videos. And it isn't just a hobby. I can actually do this to complete a task, which was my schoolwork. And that allowed me to realize that this is what I want to do.
Do you want to make like Hollywood movies? Like when you were thinking about film school, were you dreaming of, big sets, productions? Like what were you imagining was on the other side of that?
My ultimate goal was to be a music video and commercial director. That's what I wanted to do. And I just emailed a bunch of record labels that I liked. I probably sent maybe like 10 different emails at 10 different record labels, and only one responded. But that one was all that I needed to help motivate me further. And it turned out that it did really well. It got like on MTV, people wrote about it like in magazines. But at the end of the day, that didn't mean anything. I still had to work really hard. I got a job at Pitchfork. Then from there, I got a job at this television network called Plum TV, still also while in college. I worked there for a while, then I worked in advertising, trying to fulfill my dream of doing commercials. That was soul crushing, so I stopped. And from there, just through connections I had made working at all these places, I met someone whose company got acquired by Google, and I started working for Google from 2011 until 2016. And I was just a strategist for content, helping brands, helping other creators make content for a digital space. And while doing that, I started focusing on YouTube. So I made my first real YouTube channel, not just for me to upload like my personal videos. And that's when I then created with Michael and Kevin Vsauce3 and started doing that full time.
But you stepped out of a stable job. I mean, 5 years at Google is an incredibly stable situation to make Vsauce. How and why did you feel like that was a good idea?
Because Michael, Kevin, and I all worked at Google. That's how we met. We were very fortunate that while doing Vsauce, we had stable jobs. So while we were at Google, if a video didn't do well, it's fine. We have jobs, we have salaries. Doesn't matter. But then as the channel started growing, I was like, oh wait, this might actually be a real thing. We all felt that we were missing out on growing this further, on building an actual brand that was ours, that we controlled. We didn't have to report to anybody. Yeah, so we made the decision, which wasn't an easy one. It's been an interesting ride since then. I mean, it's been 4 years of being on our own. And we're not broke yet, so I guess we're doing something right.
So before Jake took the jump to becoming a full-time creator, he spent years with a stable job until the channel had grown to the point where he felt like it could provide him a steady income.
So for Jake and the rest of the guys at Vsauce, this meant that each of their channels had millions of subscribers, like 1 to 2 million subscribers, and each of their videos was getting anywhere from 500,000 to 1 million views. We probably could have learned from that because we jumped way earlier.
We were like, yo, there's 100 people watching these videos.
Time to go.
Time to go.
Over the past year, we've gotten to know Jake personally through our partnership with Samsung. Similar to us, for Jake, going full-time also means having significant brand partnerships.
What did it mean for you for a brand like Samsung to believe in you as a creator?
The reason I really like working with Samsung is they were one of the first brands that I've worked with that treated me as a filmmaker and not as a billboard to sell a product. And they wanted me just to make a series for them. And it was called The Ultimate Test. They were basically just like, use our phones, our devices, in weird ways, but that show off the features in extreme situations. So I was like, cool, zombie apocalypse, why not?
I'm gonna go check behind the bar and see if there's any food.
Right, I want people at the end of the video to go, holy smokes, that was shot on a phone? The S20 didn't exist at the time. It was shot on a Galaxy Note 10.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh my
The entire
gosh.
video.
Wow, that's crazy.
And there's one shot, I think when it comes to like, how do you do things that look impressive, but really weren't to make, is when we do that shot in the beginning where the phone or the camera goes through the glass. That was just done because it's so thin. We're able to put it right up against the glass in the exterior of the building. Then I drew with like dry erase a little line around it so we can match it up on the inside. And then we put it there, erase the marker, and then pull it away from the inside of the glass to make it look like one continuous move going through. Nothing is real, so you have a lot of room to finagle, to adjust things, to make it feel how you want it to feel, to make it look how you want to look. I mean, that's what filmmaking is. Filmmaking is lying. The more successful you are at lying, the better you are at making a video.
So as you can tell in this interview, Jake is a filmmaker through and through, and he's actually won one of filmmaking's most sought after awards, but he's done it in a very unique way, a totally untraditional way, completely by uploading to YouTube. His Emmy award-winning show, Could You Survive the Movies, does exactly what the name suggests, and it's garnered major viewership and attention.
I have two loves in my life, science and movies, so I decided to put myself in one of my favorite films, Back to the Future, to find out if you could survive it.
Talk to us about winning an Emmy. I mean, that's a really big deal
Yeah, that
for
is.
us as creators on YouTube. To see someone cross over and bridge a gap like that, for us was like so exciting to see.
I mean, to be entirely honest, it was a huge surprise. I was 100% not expecting to win. So it was very nice to win. You know, to what you said earlier, if it was something that I dreamed about when I was a kid, of course, I used to watch the Emmys as a kid, watch the Oscars, all those award shows, and I had always hoped that something I created would be recognized. So it was very nice that this institution that I grew up with was like, hey, you're not entirely terrible. I was like, oh, thank you so much. But you know, the main takeaway from it is the motivation that I need to keep doing better. An award is great. It'll look nice on my bookshelf, but it doesn't mean anything if I stop working. After the pilot of my show came out, this was like in 2018, I met with some directing agents, and I was like, all right, guys, I finally did it. I made a 30-minute movie that like had a budget, got a bunch of views, did well. How do I make more movies? And they said, great, here's what you do. Crowdfund, make a short film, get it into Sundance, have it do well, and then we can find finance people to bankroll a feature film. And I was like, oh, great. So literally the exact same thing I was told 10 years ago in film school. Nothing has changed, which was disappointing, but also because I operate largely out of vindictiveness, was like, great, I'm going to do this my way, and I'm going to make something that will impress somebody enough that they believe in me to make a movie. I'm not there yet, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop trying.
Considering that you've had to go your own path and go your own route here towards that goal, when you look back, would you consider yourself self-taught?
I mean, that's because I think that would be giving myself too much credit. I think and so are a lot of people, are very adept at learning from others. It might not have to be explicit, but just from watching others and seeing how they interact, what they do. So to a degree, yes, because I interpret that information or that knowledge and then form it into the path that I want to take. Maybe a good analogy for this is the creator playbook on YouTube that tells you, you got to have a schedule. You got to upload at this kind of time. You got to have a thumbnail that looks like this. You should have a title that looks like this. Your description should be like this. End card should be like this. But why does it have to be like that? Those are guidelines, not rules. And that's generally how I've tried to always operate. It goes back to high school where instead of writing essays, I just make movies. Same thing when it comes to YouTube. I do it because I want it to lead to something greater. It's going to be an uphill battle, but my hope is that eventually it will get me there. And at least I will have the understanding. It might take a long time, but I will know that I did it my way. And I didn't have to play by anybody else's rules. Even though I didn't break anybody's rules, I didn't have to go by them exactly.
How would you advise an aspiring creator who's trying to understand the relationship between finances and creativity, and maybe when to take that leap to go full time?
I don't think you should get into doing an art, be it painting or film or anything like that, with the intention that you're going to be rich. Because that isn't why you do it. The reason that you create is because you have no other way of getting things out. And that's why I do what I do. The fact that I can make money and a living doing it is a nice bonus. But regardless of that, I would still do it. And that to me is, if I have to make it succinct, would you still be creating if you couldn't make money doing it? And if the answer is yes, then I think you should 100% go for it.
All right, so that's it for episode 1 of Self-Taught. Thanks so much to Jake for joining us on the channel. It was just really cool to actually have a long-form conversation with him and get to record it for all of you. And thank you so much to Samsung for supporting this show and always supporting our creativity.
And as you can see in this episode, we were using the Galaxy Buds Live to interview Jake, and we're actually going to give one of you the opportunity to win a pair. We love having the Buds Live, they sound great, and they were ergonomically designed to fit right in your ear. In the spirit of Jake and his channel and what he does, put a title for a video below that would end up being a Vsauce video. Like, what's a question you didn't know you wanted the answer to? We'll be using a random comment generator to pick the winner, and we'll announce it on our Instagram story next week.
Make sure to subscribe to Jake, check him out on Instagram, just check him out all over the place. He's an awesome creator and just an awesome guy. Thanks for watching, and let us know also, what do you think of Self-Taught, episode 1? Peace!
Why is it that we wear clothes all throughout the day, and then when we go to bed, we take off all of our clothes, but then we throw a blanket on top?
So I have a great answer to that, and it is called, go to YouTube and search "Why do we wear clothes?" Because there's a Vsauce video that answers that exact question.
I knew you'd have it.
And don't forget to smash that like button.